Do not submit to the manipulation of those who walk in darkness. My people are called to freedom, not bondage. The third sign is rebellion against God. A demon-possessed person may appear spiritual. They may even quote holy words, but their life resists the authority of God. They despise holiness. They mock purity. They live for pleasure, for power, for pride. And they draw others into the same rebellion. Listen, it is not the words of a person that reveal them. It is the spirit behind their words. A demon cannot walk in surrender to God because its very nature is to defy Him. If you see someone who constantly rejects the ways of God while pretending to love them, you are looking at a vessel of darkness. The fourth sign is hatred disguised as love. A demon will never truly rejoice in your growth, your joy, your blessings. Instead, they will smile while secretly resenting you. They will draw close not to uplift you, but to monitor you, to compete with you, to sabotage you. And when the opportunity comes, they will strike with betrayal. God warns us of this spirit because too many of His children have been wounded by counterfeit love, by those who pretended to be allies but were, in truth, enemies of destiny. If you sense jealousy, if you feel that hidden resentment beneath kind words, trust the prompting of God. It is not a friend, it is a foe. The fifth sign is the draining of your spirit. When you are around someone sent by God, you feel peace, strength, encouragement, and light. But when you are around someone who is a demon in disguise, your energy is stolen, your faith is weakened, your clarity is clouded. You leave their presence more tired than before, more anxious, more doubtful. This is not normal. It is the evidence of a spirit feeding on you. Demons thrive by stealing your strength, your joy, your focus, because once you are weakened, you are easier to destroy. God is urging you to recognize this and cut off such connections without hesitation. The sixth sign is an unrelenting drive to keep you away from God. Demonic people will do everything to distract you from prayer, from faith, from purity. They will keep you busy with drama, with sin, with temptation, until you no longer have time to seek the presence of God. Their conversations never build you spiritually. They only fill you with negativity, lust, greed, and emptiness. If you notice that your walk with God is declining around someone, you must open your eyes and see that this is not by accident. That person has become a vessel of darkness, positioned to separate you from the only source of life. And I tell you this truth, demons fear exposure. They thrive in deception, but once the light of God reveals them, their power weakens. That is why God is calling you today to sharpen your discernment, to trust His voice within you, to pay attention to the unease He places in your heart when you encounter darkness. Do not silence that inner warning. Do not excuse toxic behavior. Do not cover evil with false hope. When God shows you a demon, believe Him and act accordingly. But hear me clearly, the power of a demon is nothing before the power of God. They may come to steal, to deceive, to divide. But one word from God breaks every chain. One move from God scatters every darkness. You are not called to live in fear of demons. You are called to live in awareness, in authority, in boldness. For when you walk with God, no demon can overtake you, no spirit can enslave you, no darkness can overcome the light within you. And this is the challenge God is setting before you now. Who are you allowing into your life? Who are you listening to? Who are you walking with? Do they carry the presence of God or the presence of demons? Do they lead you closer to light or deeper into darkness? Do not compromise. Do not negotiate. Do not allow pity or fear to tie you to destruction. Cut off what God reveals as demonic. Protect your spirit. Guard your destiny. And walk boldly in the truth that God is your shield. My friend, the days are dark and deception is rising. But those who walk with God, those who remain in His truth, those who listen to His voice will not be overcome. Let this word sink deep into your spirit. Not every hand that reaches for you is a hand from God. Not every voice that praises you is a voice of truth. Not every friend is a friend of your soul. Some are demons clothed in human form. And your strength is not in ignoring it. It is in discerning it, confronting it, and breaking free. So rise with courage. Ask God for discernment. Ask God for wisdom. Ask God to reveal every demon hiding in your path. And when He does, walk away without hesitation. Do not linger. Do not look back. Do not fear. For if God is with you, no demon can stand against you. When God reveals the truth to His people, it is never to frighten them. It is to prepare them, to sharpen them, and to awaken them to the reality of the unseen. The greatest tragedy is not that demons exist, but that so many people walk through life unaware of their influence. They smile, they laugh, they shake hands with spirits in human form, not realizing that their destiny is being stolen piece by piece. The danger is not in what you see, but in what you refuse to see. And God is calling you to open your spiritual eyes to discern the hidden forces behind the masks that surround you. You must understand that demons operate through vessels because they need bodies to carry out their work. They are powerless without a willing host. And so they search for hearts open to greed, to lust, to hatred, to pride. Hearts unguarded by the fear of God. When they find such a vessel, they clothe themselves in human flesh and walk among you as though they belong. But they do not belong. They are intruders in the camp of the righteous, saboteurs in the house of peace, agents of confusion, sent to scatter what God has gathered. And if you do not discern them, you will sit with them at your table, you will share secrets with them, and you will entrust your soul to those who plan your destruction. That is why discernment is not a gift of luxury. It is a necessity for survival. Without discernment, you will mistake poison for medicine, enemies for friends, and demons for allies. You will invite destruction into your life with your own hands. But when God sharpens your spirit, when His wisdom becomes your guide, you will see clearly. You will notice the contradiction in their words, the unease in their presence, the heaviness they bring, the rebellion in their spirit. You will not be deceived, because the voice of God within you will whisper, "This is not from me." Do not ignore that voice. Too many have silenced the warnings of God out of pity, out of fear, or out of the desire to please people. They hold on to relationships that God has already exposed as demonic, thinking they can change them, thinking they can love them into righteousness. But hear this truth: you cannot deliver what only God can deliver. You cannot heal what refuses to be healed. A demon will not be transformed by your affection. It will be strengthened by your tolerance. When God reveals someone's true nature, it is not your assignment to redeem them. It is your assignment to separate yourself and remain in the covering of His light. Now, understand this with clarity: demons are strategic. They will not always attack you head on. Sometimes they will comfort you in your weakness, not to strengthen you, but to keep you weak. Sometimes they will encourage your sins, not out of love, but to make sure you sink deeper into chains. Sometimes they will celebrate your failures, hiding behind words of false support, so you never realize that they rejoice in your pain. They are deceivers, and deception is their weapon. But deception only works when your eyes are closed. That is why God is urging you to stay awake, stay vigilant, stay rooted in Him, because His truth will always pierce through the lies of darkness. There is a difference between someone struggling with weakness and someone living as a vessel of demons. Weakness can be surrendered to God. Demons refuse to surrender. Weakness cries for help. Demons mock the very idea of help. Weakness can be healed in the light of God. Demons thrive only in rebellion against that light. You must learn to distinguish between the two, because if you confuse them, you will extend patience to what needs to be cut off, and you will waste your strength fighting what is not your battle to fight. Let me speak to you plainly. Some of you have been tormented for years, not by invisible spirits, but by people in your life who carry demonic assignments. Every time you rise, they drag you down. Every time you pray, they distract you. Every time you step forward, they whisper fear into your ear. And because you call them friend, family, or partner, you excuse the patterns and tolerate the change. But God is saying, enough. You are not called to carry demons with you. You are called to walk free, to walk holy, to walk in the authority of the light. If you do not sever what God has revealed as darkness, you will never step fully into the destiny He has prepared for you. Here, these demons hate the presence of God. That is why they cannot remain comfortable around someone who carries His Spirit with boldness. If you want to expose them, increase your devotion. Fill your home with prayer. Fill your life with truth. Fill your heart with worship of God. Watch how they squirm, how they avoid, how they flee, because the darkness in them cannot withstand the light in you. You do not need to argue with a demon. You do not need to prove yourself to a demon. You only need to stand in the authority of God, and they will expose themselves by their own discomfort. But do not mistake exposure for defeat. A demon can be exposed and still cling to you if you refuse to let them go. You must not only see the signs, you must act upon them. It is not enough to know that someone is carrying darkness. You must decide to remove them from the intimate spaces of your life. You must decide to cut ties that God has shown are chains. You must decide to protect your spirit above all else. And that requires courage, because demons often come through people you once loved, people you once trusted, people you never imagined could be used by darkness. But if you choose comfort over obedience, you choose bondage over freedom. This is why the walk with God is not for the faint of heart. It requires boldness. It requires faith. It requires the willingness to stand alone if necessary. But you will never truly be alone, because God Himself stands with those who stand with His truth. And when you stand with God, no demon can overpower you. No spirit can enslave you. No darkness can eclipse your light. You are protected. You are shielded. You are upheld by the very hand of the Almighty. So I say to you, with the fire of conviction, open your eyes, sharpen your spirit, and walk in the wisdom of God. Do not be deceived by outward beauty, by smooth words, by familiar faces. Look deeper, listen carefully, test every spirit, and when God reveals the demon, do not compromise. Break free, walk forward, and never look back. For your destiny is too precious, your calling too great, and your God too mighty for you to waste another moment in the company of darkness. There are moments in your life when God allows you to feel the weight of demonic presence, not to frighten you, but to train you. He allows you to walk into a room and suddenly feel heaviness. He allows you to meet someone who smiles outwardly but makes your spirit restless. This is not coincidence. This is discernment. God is showing you that there is more happening than meets the eye. Demons are not concerned with flesh. They are after destiny. They are after the light that God has placed inside of you. If you did not carry something powerful, they would not pursue you with such intensity. Their attack is the confirmation of your calling. But do not make the mistake of underestimating them. A demon does not always roar like a lion. It often whispers like a friend. It cloaks itself in flattery, in false love, in deceptive kindness. It studies your weaknesses and approaches through the cracks of your heart. That is why God urges you to guard your spirit diligently. You cannot afford to be naive in a world where demons operate boldly through men and women. If you are careless, you will shake hands with your enemy. You will marry into bondage. You will sign contracts with destruction. And only later will you realize that you invited ruin into your life because you refused to see what God was showing you. You must come to terms with this truth. Not everyone is human in spirit. Some are carriers of darkness, deliberately opposing the plans of God. They do not seek peace, they thrive on chaos. They do not bring unity, they sow division. They do not uplift, they tear down. Their entire existence is a rebellion against the holiness of God. And when you allow them into your life, you are permitting darkness to sit at the table God reserved for light. That is why God says, be separate. Separation is not cruelty. It is obedience. It is protection. It is the boundary that keeps your soul safe from corruption. Consider this. When God wants to bless you, He often sends a person. When the enemy wants to destroy you, he also sends a person. The form may look the same, but the spirit behind it is different. This is why you cannot evaluate people merely by what they say or do externally. You must discern what spirit they carry. A blessing may look ordinary on the outside, but it carries the fragrance of God. A curse may look appealing on the outside, but it carries the stench of hell. To the blind, both look harmless. To the discerning, one brings life and the other brings death. And let me speak this truth boldly: demons are not always violent in appearance. Sometimes they are subtle, refined, even respected. They may sit in positions of power. They may lead crowds. They may speak eloquently, but their words do not lead people toward God. They lead people away. They confuse truth, distort purity, and normalize rebellion. They teach compromise, and through compromise, they open the door to destruction. This is why God demands that you anchor yourself in Him so deeply that no smooth talker can shake you, no manipulator can bend you, no deceiver can entice you. If you are not anchored in God, you will be carried away by every wave of demonic influence that comes dressed as wisdom. Understand also that demons are restless by nature. They cannot remain silent for long. They will reveal themselves through patterns, through contradictions, through the trail of destruction they leave behind. Pay attention to consistency. A person filled with God may stumble, but their life moves in the direction of light, growth, and restoration. A person carrying demons may disguise themselves temporarily, but the fruit will eventually betray them. You will see bitterness, envy, lust, hatred, pride, always pointing back to the darkness within. God said you will know them by their fruit. If the fruit is rotten, do not excuse it, discern it. If the fruit poisons your peace, cut it off before it kills your purpose. Some of you are fighting battles that are not even yours because you are tied to someone who carries demons. Their chaos has become your chaos. Their rebellion has become your warfare. Their destruction is dragging you into a pit you were never meant to enter. And yet you excuse it in the name of loyalty, in the name of love, in the name of compassion. But hear me, loyalty to a demon is betrayal to your own soul. Compassion for a demon is cruelty to your destiny. God is not calling you to save what He has already condemned. He is calling you to escape, to protect the light. He entrusted to you to keep your spirit unpolluted so you can fulfill your divine assignment. When you walk with God, demons will fear you. They may plot against you, but they cannot prevail. They may attack, but they cannot conquer. For greater is the one who shields you than all the forces of darkness combined. But that protection only works when you obey. If God reveals the presence of a demon in someone's life and you ignore His warning, you step outside of His protection by your disobedience. Protection is not passive. It is tied to obedience. That is why wisdom and discernment are not optional. They are your shield in a world where spirits roam freely. Hear this deeply. The presence of a demon is always hostile to the presence of God. That is why the atmosphere changes when you bring God into a room. They cannot coexist peacefully. Light and darkness have no agreement. That is why when you live as a carrier of God's Spirit, demons will either flee from you or attempt to fight you. But they cannot remain neutral. So if someone in your life becomes increasingly hostile as you grow closer to God, Do not mistake it for coincidence. That hostility may be the sign that the spirit within them is resisting the God within you. Pay attention. God reveals these patterns not to hurt you, but to protect you. There is also this truth. Demons do not always want to destroy you instantly. Sometimes they want to delay you. Delay is one of their greatest weapons. If they can keep you stagnant, distracted, and tangled in the wrong company, then your destiny is wasted without them even needing to kill you. They rob you of time, of opportunities, of focus. They exhaust your energy on battles you were never meant to fight. And before you know it, years have passed, your fire has dimmed, and your calling has been buried beneath endless distractions. That is why discerning and removing demonic influences from your life is not just about survival. It is about preserving the time and the destiny God has given you. Do not be passive. Do not tolerate. Do not negotiate with darkness. When God exposes a demon, act swiftly. Close the door. Cut the tie. Protect the altar of your life. For every day you allow them near, they drain your spirit, they steal your joy, they cloud your vision. But every day you walk in obedience to God, you grow stronger, clearer, free. And the freer you are, the more powerfully God can use you to fulfill the assignment for which He created you. Your life is too precious to be entangled with demons in disguise. Your destiny is too great to be delayed by counterfeit relationships. Your calling is too urgent to be polluted by hidden darkness. God is calling you higher, purer, stronger. And to step into that place, you must not only recognize the signs of demons, you must take the bold step of cutting them off and walking fully in the light. Now hear me as I speak this final word into your soul. The hour is urgent, the battle is real, and the choice is clear. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot drink from two cups. You cannot walk with both light and darkness. God has shown you the signs. He has opened your eyes, and now the responsibility rests upon you. Will you rise in the authority of God, or will you continue to tolerate what is draining your spirit? Will you protect the light He has entrusted to you, or will you let be smothered by the shadows you refuse to confront? This is not a time for fear. This is not a time for hesitation. This is a time for boldness, for courage, for unwavering faith in the one who created you. Demons thrive on indecision, but they tremble before conviction. When you decide in your heart to walk fully with God, no power of darkness can hold you. No chain can bind you. No curse can remain upon you. For the authority of God in you is greater than the schemes of hell against you. So I challenge you now, examine your life. Look at your relationships, your circles, your connections. Ask yourself, who carries the fragrance of God and who carries the stench of rebellion? Who lifts you closer to the light and who pulls you deeper into shadows? Do not answer with your emotions, answer with your spirit. And when God reveals the truth, act with courage. Cut off what He has marked as dangerous. Separate yourself from what He has shown is not of Him. For only then will you walk in the fullness of the freedom He has prepared for you. And as you rise, do not look back. Let your heart be set like flint toward the destiny ahead of you. Let your spirit burn with holy fire that no demon can quench. Let your steps be firm, your voice be bold, and your faith be unshakable. For you are not walking in your own strength. You are walking in the strength of God. And with Him, you are unstoppable. Go forth. Then, with eyes open and spirit alert, carry the light of God wherever you go. And let that light expose, scatter, and destroy every hidden work of darkness around you. Live as one who is untouchable by the schemes of demons, unshaken by the threats of hell, and unmovable in the presence of the Almighty. And may the truth of God echo in your soul every single day. No demon, no darkness, no deception can ever prevail against a heart fully surrendered to Him. Now rise, walk free, and live as the living testimony that God reigns, that His light overcomes every shadow, and that those who belong to Him will never be defeated. The return of the body to the soil. Hear me clearly. Cremation is not just a cultural practice. It is an act of rebellion against the very design of God. Burial is not a human tradition, it is God's command. Every prophet, every servant, every righteous one was laid into the ground, not burned into ashes. From the beginning of time, those who honored God knew that the body must be returned to the earth, for this is the cycle ordained by the Creator. But the nations who rejected God's ways, the nations that bowed to idols, they are the ones who burned their dead, thinking the smoke carried them into the heavens. This is not worship, it is abomination. Beloved, I must ask you, who will you follow? The order of God or the customs of the pagans? Will you return your body to the earth in humility, or will you cast it into the fire in rebellion? Many say, it does not matter what happens to the body, the soul has already departed. But hear me. When God has spoken, it matters. The smallest detail matters. The dust belongs to God. The bones belong to God. The ground waits to receive what God has formed. It is not for you to decide what is sacred or not. It is for God alone. Let me tell you this with authority. Cremation brings a curse upon families who choose it. For when you choose fire over earth, you choose the way of destruction over the way of surrender. Fire consumes in wrath, while earth receives in peace. Fire is the judgment of God, but earth is the cradle of His design. Do not confuse the fire of punishment with the fire of holiness. To burn the body is to place it under judgment when God has called it to rest in the soil. This is why so many nations walk under hidden curses. They burn their dead, thinking it is noble, thinking it is respectful, thinking it is release. But in truth, they have aligned with rebellion. They have chosen man's way, not God's way. They have mocked the order of dust to dust, and they wonder why their land is cursed, why their families are restless, why their peace is stolen. God is not mocked. What He has ordained, no man can undo. And I speak to those who argue and say, but God is merciful. God does not care about the body after death. Be careful with such words. Mercy does not cancel order. Mercy does not erase law. Mercy is not permission for disobedience. God is merciful to the repentant, not to those who rebel and justify sin. The moment you say, God does not care, you are calling Him a liar, for God cares about every detail He created. He formed the dust, He breathed into it, He commanded the return of it. Do not play with His order. Do not twist His truth to justify man's rebellion. When you bury, you honor God. When you bury, you humble yourself to His command. When you bury, you testify that you came from the earth, and you shall return to the earth. Burial is not just a tradition, it is a declaration of faith in God's design. But cremation is a declaration of defiance, a silent voice that says, I will choose fire, I will choose my own way, I will not return as you commanded. Do you see the danger? Do you feel the weight of this? The fire that men light for cremation is not holy fire. It is strange fire. It is the same strange fire that led nations into idol worship, into sacrificing their children, into offering their dead to gods that were no gods at all. This is why God abhors it. This is why He clarifies it. This is why He warns us not to walk in the ways of the nations, not to follow their abominations, not to mix light with darkness. Beloved, do not be deceived by the softness of culture. Culture will